Hello, welcome everyone to part two. Part two of the project of the project breakdown to the next hit song, Dennis Fake Disease. And this time you can see me in the corner on the webcam. I managed to get the webcam working, despite it not being compatible with Apple, since QuickTime. I didn't realise that QuickTime had a feature to be able to make use of the redundant webcam that I can use in Windows. Unfortunately, because I've got an older version of OS X, I can't get this bar thing to disappear in this version on the movie recording, so that's a bit of a bummer. Because in the newer versions of Apple, it just disappears unless you get your mouse to hover over it. So, but you can see me, so it's a bit more interactive. This is the project breakdown, part 2, Fake Disease. You might be wondering, why is the first part in Fruity Loops? Well, that's because the second part. And why is the second part in Cubase? Because I mix in Cubase. That's why. So let's get to it. Basically, all these sounds are the ones that are from Fruity Loops. This violin here, even though it's dry in Cubase, I think if I solo it, it keeps the reverb from Fruity Loops. So the violin was created in Cubase on the Windows computer, and then I put the violin into Fruity Loops and then added convolver and reverb to it. So this is the same violin, but it's not the same. So this is the violin taken from Fruity Loops, taken from Cubase. So it's Cubase to Fruity Loops and Fruity Loops to Cubase, back into Cubase. So that's like the project's been wired without actually being wired. It's kind of strange. It looks more simple than it actually is. So that's the violin. The piano is the piano is exactly the same here. There's no equalization. I probably should have used EQ more. Maybe my mixes would sound better, but it's sounding pretty clean anyway. And if you make it too clean, it just won't sound. It won't sound so. It sounds too clean. And what one guy that I gave the CD to. I gave the CD to for free, and he just didn't. He said it was perfect. Like, he really enjoyed it, but he said it sounds very, very clean the way you've done it. So you're suggesting it might sound a bit too clean, and that's despite me not. So that's despite me not over adding stuff. So this is the bass here. Which is exactly the same bass I showed you in Fruity Loops. Now the drums. Now the drums is interesting because the drums is only on one channel. I've basically exported the whole entire drums. I've set it to -9 dB, so when I'm mixing, I'm getting ready for mastering. This project is more complicated than Tragic Theme, as you can see. Hold on a minute. Okay, that's interesting. So the drums is on just one channel now. Probably a better practice would be to separate all the kick drum, the snare, and the cymbals and all that to be separate. At least separate the cymbals from the kick drum and the snare. You probably can keep the snare and the kick together, but it probably would be better to separate them as well, so you have more control. But I didn't do that in this mix. I went for simplicity and saving space, but it still works. Equalizer. Oh yeah, there's some there's some EQ on it. That's the EQ I put on the drums there, just to increase the kick. Oh, sounds much better. So I've increased the trem. See, the snare's cutting in harder. And plus I've increased resonance above 5k to 20k. Giving the drums a lot more clarity. That sounded quite good actually. So that's the drums. That's the drums here. So I just had to rebuild the project. I've used fade-ins here. Actually, I didn't use a fade-in there on the piano, but I would have used a fade-in in mastering. But I would recommend you still use a fade-in at the end. I would recommend using a fade-in, but I didn't. But the mastering, I did pull it in, so in mastering it would have been done. So that's the bass, the piano, and the drums, and that's the violin covered. Now, when we go into violin, we go into strings. That's with the reverb. Now all I did here was I panned this string to the right. It's just panned to the right side, this strings. And then this one is not panned, I don't think, as far as I'm aware. Nope, it's not panned at all. So, and then this strings too here, I'm not sure, I muted this string. There might have been a reason for it. It's too high, that's why I took it out. I took it out, it sounded horrible. So that's the same strings coming from Fruity Loops using the Direct Wave plugin. It's all exported from Fruity Loops. But what I did was I added that Halion Sonic. No producer uses Halion Sonic. No serious producer uses Halion Sonic. Because they're like, well, all the professional producers don't use it. And I'm just like, well, I use it. But then again, I'm not professional. So I used Strings Assemble GM. This is the one. I mean, look, you got Halion Sonic for free, and it's a good quality plugin. Why does nobody use it? You know they'll take Cubase and we've got all this fancy stuff. We got Sylymph, and I don't know, Maximus. There was a time when people all had Nexus, and they were using a copy. They were using a pirate copy of Nexus because it was too damn well, actually, Nexus is cheap to buy, but to buy all the presets, that's when it becomes really expensive. It can be like 500 to $1,000 just to buy one plugin, and like I could buy a synth for that price, you know. I mean, and then there's Virus Synth, which sounds kind of like the Nexus. It's basically Nexus, but like a actual physical, real synthesizer. Which I have about 2 synthesizers, but they're technically not synthesizers, they're actually workstations, but they're actually below the standard of workstations. In fact, I don't have a better keyboard. It's not because I wanted to save money. It's actually I lack space, and I actually wanted a cheaper keyboard because it has a nice accordion sound on it that the more expensive workstation doesn't replicate that cheap accordion sound. So I need the cheaper version to produce that specific sound I like, that specific accordion sound I'm looking for. Just like I spent 30 quid on a even cheaper keyboard that was old. Like I call it like a granddad's keyboard. It's basically going to your grandparents' home and you find this keyboard just lying there, next to the box of toys, and it's for the kids to play with. And you know, your granddad once tried to learn some keyboard. That's why he has a keyboard, but he gave up. That kind, that kind of synthesizer, or it's like a vintage one. But anyway, going back to this. Sorry if I've drifted off, but Halion Sonic, it's free. It's good quality, and in fact that none of the professional producers are using it, basically means that if you use it in a professional production, then your songs probably won't sound like anybody else's because no one's using what's right in front of them. I think there's a bit of like a conceitedness as well. Like people seem to think, oh, I'm too good for that. Halion Sonic, what? That's unprofessional. If it's unprofessional, why do you have Cubase? That's like saying Cubase is unprofessional. Like, well, I've got better sounds, more modern sounds. What's a better sound and what's modern? So I just alternated it. I didn't add any plugins to this one. And what that does is it just enhances the just the pulsing on. And I also use the velocity trick here. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Oh, come on. Yeah, here we are. So you can see different colours here. It works in exactly the same way as the Fruity Loops one, but it's not as display wise. It's not as good as Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops does have a better design in MIDI design, but anyway, it's not that much worse. It still will do the job, just like Fruity Loops will do. And I just creates that nice pulse sound. Pretty simple. Not the most exciting sound in the world. Not like, wow, that's really epic. But it's all the little details like that add up to one greater thing. So now we've got this. See, that together sounds better. See, it adds that complexity as well. You know, you've got like which is like, it's a triplet. These are triplets. Actually, I'm not even sure how I did the triplets. I think I set the quantize preset to you've got here the options for triplets. So I've selected the correct one, and I don't remember which one, but now it's not selected, so you can't see it actually split into triplets. But you can see the notes; they are triplets basically, and we've added like a triplet, like 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, to give it that nice. There's quantize panels open there. I'm not sure why that opens, but I've never seen that before actually. Well, first time I've seen it, first time maybe you've seen it as well. So you've got this. So you got at the same time as, and then when you add the strings to it, it's and that's it. That is how the strings. So that's the Cubase enhancement of strings. This strings is also created with Halion Sonic as well. I'm using a lot of Halion Sonic because it's good. Halion Sonic is good, guys. Use it. They'll be like, oh man, I can't produce anything because I have to buy Silent. Mind you, that I do use Fruity Loops for a lot of the sounds, so I never truly adapted to Cubase properly. Well, I suppose I could. I mean, it would sound very different than the end result, but so that's enough on the strings now. The trumpet here is doing the same thing. It's strings right. This is strings right. Just now, this has been panned to the left. That's been panned to the left. These ones, and that one's been panned to the right. So it creates more stereo width, and it actually gives more space in the mix as well, because two instruments, you can hear two instruments, but it's actually becoming virtually one instrument in mono, but you get that nice stereo width. We've got the trumpet coming in here, which was shown in Fruity Loops. Now these are the guitars. There's no plugins really added to this one. That's interesting. The double piano channel in Fruity Loops, by the way, has become one. So, I thought piano only needs one channel. It doesn't need two. I mean, I only put two so I could layer it better. Okay, so that's that. So that's the electric guitar. Nothing's been added to that. Now, in the original Fake Disease, I used a preset on my normal keyboard in the demo version that's also on YouTube. I used my normal keyboard and recorded the Ocarina preset, but I managed to find exactly the same preset in the Halion Sonic. I also added some reverb, which is Revelation here. Set it to 50 because it can sound quite dry on its own. So, and then I used the Ocarina. I used this preset. So, see, sounds a bit dry now. That sounds better now with the reverb. So I added some Revelation there, reverb. That no one, when she died on the stage, I was
very outraged.
Well, that sounds like EDM. The way the reverb collapses sounds like EDM. A good job the song doesn't actually sound like EDM when it's fully mixed. Because that's not the sound I was really going for, but... So now we're going to go into Sign Purity. I'm not really sure what's in this one. That's set to -11 because it was too loud in the mix, so... That I didn't have to do anything with, apart from make it quieter.
She went off with the doctor and tried to bite the doctor so she could.
Whoa. Okay, so that's Cosmic. Now, this is the fun bit, because now this might look like, because all these are program presets coming from Fruity Loops, but this one's different here. This one's Cosmic Sound. This is set to -9. I didn't add any equalizer, I just pull it in dry. I then compressed it. I did a volume fade because it's actually a live recording. It's on that Yamaha keyboard, the cheaper one, the PSS one, the PSS keyboard, using Cosmic sound, the sound Cosmic, which is just a button you press, Cosmic, and you press 3 buttons. What was it? I think it's sustain, stereo, symphonic sound, and was it something beginning with V? I think, I'm not sure. I selected all 3 of them anyway. All the 3 are lit, and it just makes it more like this. I did most of the editing for this in Garageband. That's hence why there's not much going on in here. So when we combine it with the guitars, that's sounding quite good. It's adding up to a more epic sound, making you think you're listening to something else that you're not actually listening to. So that's the Cosmic. It's in the chorus. It's at the end as well. Well, that's looking good, man. So. Okay, so that's this song. So now we go into the vocals. Unfortunately, in the mix, there's less to show you because it's just a reconstructed song for mixing.
When she told me she loved me, and I sung her a melody, was such a fool to believe.
See, I kept... There's quite a lot of reverb on this song.
When she told me she loved me,
I kept the breaths inside as well. I think I wanted to maintain... I had to make the volume high as well, -3, because vocals seem to be quiet. I don't have a vocal compressor. And this is the mic I'm recording this video on, by the way, is the Blue Nano mic. It's the Blue Nano microphone. Or Nino microphone. I think I'm not sure what the model is, but it's the blue microphone. But this wasn't made using this microphone. I used a CCU1 USB microphone, which is a pretty good microphone as well. I think this one is slightly better.
And I sung her a melody. Was such a fool to believe
So
that she would love me.
I increased the sibilance here.
I felt the
5K
stab of jealousy
to give it a more area vocal.
She was driving me crazy when she told me she loved me.
And actually, that sounds better. Actually, I should take note of this because sometimes I don't.
And I sung her a melody. Was such a fool to believe that she would love me.
That sounds a lot more full as well. There's also a DS on here, which is ironic because I actually add. I re-S, but the higher frequencies. The DS remove sibilance between 2K and 5K range. So I use the DS. Where's the plugin? This is it. Just set on default.
I felt the stab of jealousy. She was driving me crazy. I couldn't believe she would cheat on.
And then the reverb I used was actually a little bit of. I used Roomworks Hall Arena and made them really quiet. I then added Surrounding Drama Hall. It's got a very low mix on it. I lowered the mix here so it wouldn't be too much.
On me.
But it sounds like an EDM track. You don't hear it in the mix though, which is good.
She hung on the trapeze and tried to sell her. I wasn't meant to fall in love with a courtesan who tried to cheat on me.
So what we've done here is, I think I showed you earlier, yeah. I added a compressor to the vocals, a de-esser to remove the excess sibilance between 2K and 5K, but I did brighten the sibilance between 5K and 20K. So the vocals would have more presence in the ear. I used a double reverb here, but very little, because when you combine two together, a double rack of Roomworks, you end up with a very, very strong reverb. So that's it. That's the equalizer. This is the type of reverb we used for Roomworks. Now what we're going to do is go into the second set of vocals. What worth noting? I've provided fade-ins and fade-outs. This removes any small bits of white noise in the track, so you don't end up with so much noise that because the noise can build up and accumulate. But instead of going harsh, just cutting it out completely, I just fade it out gently and fade it back in, and you can't hear the white noise because all the instruments cover it. So you just got. Now I do keep the breaths in some places, but I don't increase the volume of the breaths. A lot of producers, I think, increase the volume so the listener can definitely hear it. I've left it in, and you can hear it very little bit. And if you can't really hear it, then to me it doesn't matter, because it's sounding more live then. Because you're not gonna. Are you really even supposed to hear the breaths? in a vocal, you know. And some people completely cut all the breaths out. They don't leave any breaths in. They want it really tight, like bang. So I've left it in. I mean, I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I cut the breaths out, especially if the breaths are not nice sounding, or if there's clicks in the breath, so I'll just cut it out. But here, there's not really much of an issue. So let's try and dry it. Let's take the de-esser off. Let's just see if there's any equalizer. No EQ has been used on this second layer of vocals. In this song, if I drag my mouse down, these are all the vocals. There's 5 layers of vocals in this track, in this mix. So so that's pretty dry. And then we'll add the de-esser. Then we add a bit of reverb, then we double the reverb, we switch on Reamworks, and we get this. So instead of sounding a bit out of place in the mix, the reverb makes the vocals, it softens it a little bit, it rounds it off, and it makes it mix better with the rest of the track, especially when there's a lot of reverb type sounds coming off the other instruments. So that's the second vocals, and then when we go into the chorus,
to bribe the doctor so she could get away from me.
I didn't actually fade this one out. Well, that's why you hear the white noise suddenly just cutting off. Well, that's a mistake I made, but maybe there's a reason for that. But I'm not really sure why I didn't cut it out. I probably just forgot, and I got away with it. I mean, I did cut it out here in other parts. So let's see the chorus here. Let's just see this one. No, I didn't do it there either. Well, I didn't do it. So what you should do is try not to forget. Always fade it in and fade it out. And you just use this thing here to do it. You just get the square. And it's such an easy way. You can only do this with audio, by the way. You can't do it with virtual instruments. If you've got virtual instruments, you'll have to use volume and do it that way, and use the draw toolbar up here. So that's the way. That's the only way to do it. Now, clearly here we've got to investigate what these do. I'm not sure what these do down here. Oh no, I know exactly what they do. Now there's another. This is the final part of the vocals I'm going to show you in this project, because that's the last thing I have to show you. I've only used the de-esser and one set of reverb. That's it dry. I've used the higher mix here because it's a background vocal. It doesn't matter so much if there's more.
Was such a fool to believe that she would love me. I felt the stab of jealousy in the city.
And then this is the second background vocal that I'm waving my mouse at. I don't know if you can see the mouse actually. I'm not sure if I've included mouse clicks. I'm not sure if I included mouse clicks in the recording. But to understand what this background vocal's doing, I've added a left. I've used a slightly different reverb preset there. This one has the same. There's 3 takes of this vocal, and I've panned one to the right, one to the left, and one is in the centre. So you get stereo width of the background vocals. See how that sounds now? And with all the reverb, that sounds nice. Now, to understand in the context of the mix, I'm going to add the piano in.
I felt the stab of jealousy in the city. She was driving me crazy in 1987. I couldn't believe she would cheat on me.
And it makes it sound more full, the song. So now let's hear it with all the background vocals and everything switched on. Oh.
Such a fool to believe that she would love me.
So this bit here is dry.
And I sung her a melody.
Then it kicks in and
Was such a fool to believe.
Yeah, now you can hear it.
That she would love me. I felt the stab of jealousy in the city. She was driving me crazy in 1987. I couldn't believe she would cheat on me. She hung on the trapeze and tried to sell herself.
Okay, so that's the project there. It doesn't. A lot of the song doesn't have background vocals, and then this part's dry here, and it repeats again the same set of background vocals, and then the background vocals are in the last part of the track as well. As you can see at the bottom 3 is the background vocals. And so that is it. That's all there is to show you. I faded them out again. I've used fade-ins, so it doesn't just jump out at you. I didn't use a fade-in here because I needed the vocals to start pronto, straight on the bar, so I didn't put any warning there. I probably could have. I think I just started it prompt. Sometimes you want to do that, sometimes you don't. Especially if you're going to have horrible clicks. Just one more thing in the song. The tempo is 98. Well, you can look on the bar what the tempo is. 98 dead on. And that is it. That is it for this. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't heard the song before and you've managed to stumble on this video before, and you're interested and you like the song or you like the project, I hope you learned something. And if you haven't checked out the first video as well, the Fruity Loops part of how we make it, please check that out. It will make more sense. This video will make more sense. Maybe watch this video again. But links will be in the side as well for the original part of the video, and also for the song. I'll link you to the lyrics video because that's more interactive and more interesting to watch. So okay, so thank you very much if you're with me to the end, and see you soon. Goodbye now.